Hey, Hoops fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your ultimate WNBA betting destination. I'm your host, Kokon, and I'm pumped to dive into today's action-packed episode. We're gearing up for a deep analysis and some sharp predictions. But before we break down today's matchup, smash that subscribe button to stay in the loop with our forecasts. And if you dig our insights and today's WNBA game predictions, show some love by liking, sharing, or doing both. Stay locked in as we roll into today's WNBA betting picks on Tips and Streams. Today we have predictions for two WNBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the New York Liberty and Indiana Fever. The clash between the New York Liberty and the Indiana Fever at Gainbridge Fieldhouse promises to be a thriller. The Liberty, perched atop the Eastern Conference with a stellar 17-3 record, are riding a 5-game winning streak, brimming with confidence. Meanwhile, the Fever, standing at 8-13, are eager to defend their home turf and climb the standings. With both teams boasting key players in top form, this game is set to be a nail-biter. Let's dive into the Liberty first. This squad has been on fire, led by the dynamic duo of Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart. Ionescu has been a force of nature, averaging 18.7 points and 6.5 assists per game. Her court vision and clutch shooting make her a constant threat. Stewart, a living legend, is filling up the stat sheet with 19.7 points and 9.1 rebounds per game. Her presence on both ends of the court is undeniable, making her a cornerstone of the Liberty's success. The Liberty's offense ranks second in the league, pouring in 87.2 points per game while shooting a solid 45.5% from the field. They're deadly from downtown, sinking 10.5 threes per game at a 34.8% clip. Their free throw shooting is top-notch, leading the league at 83.7%. Defensively, they're no slouches either, ranking third in the league by allowing just 77.7 points per game. They dominate the boards with a league-leading 36.3 rebounds per game, thanks in large part to Stewart and Jonquel Jones, who added 16.5 points and 8.8 rebounds per game. The Fever, however, are no pushovers. Kelsey Mitchell has been lighting it up, averaging 16.6 points per game. She's a sharpshooter who can create her shot, making her a constant threat. Rookie sensation Caitlin Clark has also been turning heads, contributing 16 points and 7.1 assists per game. Her playmaking abilities and court awareness have been a boon for Indiana. Indiana's offense, while not as explosive as New York's, still puts up a respectable 80.5 points per game. They shoot a solid 43.8% from the field and are decent from beyond the arc at 34.8%. Their free throw shooting, however, leaves something to be desired at 76%. Defensively, the Fever have struggled, allowing 87.7 points per game, which ranks them near the bottom of the league. They also lag on the boards, averaging 33.9 rebounds per game. In terms of head-to-head matchups, the Liberty have dominated the Fever this season. They've met 3 times already, each game ending in a double-digit win for New York, including 2 36-point blowouts. The most recent clash saw the Liberty shoot 58% from the field and 44% from three-point range, cruising to a 104-68 victory. When considering the location, the Fever have a slight edge playing at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where they've been much more competitive. They've won their last 4 home games, and the home crowd will undoubtedly be a factor. Historically, the Fever have managed to put up a fight in their home arena, even against tougher opponents. The Liberty's away form has also been solid, winning 5 of their last 6 away games. However, they've struggled to cover large spreads as heavy favorites, failing to cover in 6 of their last 8 games as favorites overall. They're 4-13 against the spread in their last 17 games when favored by 7 or more points. From a betting perspective, the Liberty are favored by 9 points in this matchup. Given their recent form and the Fever's home advantage, this spread might be a bit too generous. The Fever, despite their struggles, have shown they can be competitive at home. They've played their best ball in front of their fans and will be motivated to avoid a season sweep. Looking at the key factors, field goal percentage, three-point shooting, and rebounding, the Liberty have the edge in all categories. However, Indiana's recent form at home and their ability to stay close in games make them a solid bet to cover the spread. Injuries could play a role too. The Liberty are relatively healthy, with no major injuries reported. The Fever, however, will be keeping an eye on Temi Fagbenle, who is questionable with a thumb injury. The Indiana Fever have lost their last 9 games against the New York Liberty. The Fever lost by an average of 18.2 points in those last 9 games, but let's make something clear. This isn't the same Fever team that was pummeled by 36 points, twice, earlier this season. Clark seems to have truly turned the corner as a playmaker, and Indiana has responded with 5 wins in its last 8 games. Despite everything said, it is hard not to expect 10 consecutive victories for the Liberty, but a realistic expectation is that the Fever will give their all and keep this game close and interesting. In conclusion, while the New York Liberty have the firepower and form to win this game, the Indiana Fever have enough grit and home court advantage to keep it close. The Liberty will likely come out on top, but the Fever should cover the 9-point spread. My bet is on the Indiana Fever to cover the 9-point spread. The second prediction for today is for a game between the Washington Mystics and Minnesota Lynx. Hold on to your seats, hoopheads, because we've got an electrifying matchup coming up between the Washington Mystics and the Minnesota Lynx at the Target Center. This game promises to be a roller coaster of emotions filled with intense competition and strategic plays. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty and see why the Mystics are set to cover that 8-point spread. The Lynx are having a solid season with a 14-6 record, placing them at the top of the Western Conference. However, they've hit a bit of a rough patch lately, losing 3 of their last 4 games. Their recent defeats came against some of the league's top teams, including the Connecticut Sun and the New York Liberty. Their last game against the Sun saw them falter offensively, with key player Alana Smith leading the charge with 14 points and 4 rebounds, and Kayla McBride chipping in 13 points. On the flip side, the Washington Mystics are struggling with a 5-16 record, sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Despite their overall record, the Mystics have shown signs of life recently, going 3-3 in their last 6 games. Their victories included back-to-back wins over the Dallas Wings and a significant triumph against the Los Angeles Sparks. In their latest outing, they fell to the Las Vegas Aces, despite strong performances from Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, who scored 19 points, and Ariel Atkins, who added 18 points and 3 rebounds. Looking at the stats, the Mystics are averaging 79.2 points per game while shooting 42.9% from the field and an impressive 37.0% from beyond the arc. They've been solid at the free throw line, hitting 77.3% of their attempts. Ariel Atkins leads the scoring for the Mystics with an average of 14.5 points per game, supported by a cadre of contributors, although injuries have sidelined some key players like Shakira Austin, Brittany Sykes, Stephanie Dolson, and Carly Samuelson. Defensively, the Mystics allow 83.5 points per game, with opponents shooting 45.4% from the field and 34.7% from three-point range. Aaliyah Edwards is the leading rebounder for Washington, averaging 6.2 boards per game, while Ariel Atkins leads in steals with 1.5 per game. The Lynx, on the other hand, are averaging 82.5 points per game, shooting 44.8% overall, and a scorching 39.3% from three-point land. They are also strong at the charity stripe, making 78.4% of their free throws. Nafisa Collier has been the standout for Minnesota, averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds per game, although she's questionable for this matchup due to a foot injury sustained in their recent game against the Sun. Defensively, the Lynx are one of the best in the league, allowing just 74.6 points per game and holding opponents to 39.4% shooting from the field and 28.3% from beyond the arc. They dominate the boards with an average of 35.1 rebounds per game, led by Collier's 10.2 boards. Alana Smith steps up as the leading active rebounder with an average of 5.0 boards per game in Collier's potential absence. Minnesota's defense has been stellar, but with Collier's injury casting a shadow over their offensive capabilities, they might struggle to maintain their scoring output. Historically, the Lynx have had a strong home court advantage, winning 7 of their last 8 games at Target Center. However, they've been shaky since winning the Commissioner's Cup, going 1-3 straight up and against the spread. When it comes to back-to-back scenarios, the Mystics have had mixed results. They're coming off a tough stretch of road games, including their recent defeat against the Aces. Their performance in back-to-back games has been inconsistent, but they've shown resilience, especially in close contests. Analyzing the head-to-head matchups in Minneapolis, the Lynx have had the upper hand in recent years. However, the Mystics have been competitive, losing by a narrow margin in their last encounter. With key injuries on both sides, this game is shaping up to be a closely fought battle. The Washington Mystics have an impressive 8-2-0 record against the spread in their last 10 games. These against-the-spread victories highlight their ability to compete closely with top-tier opponents, suggesting they can keep games competitive even against higher-ranked teams like Minnesota. Despite their overall record, which places them towards the bottom of the standings, Washington has shown resilience and competitiveness. The Mystics' ability to cover the spread will hinge on their capacity to exploit the Lynx's vulnerabilities, particularly if Collier is out or playing at less than 100%. Washington's three-point shooting and free throw accuracy could be pivotal in keeping this game close. In conclusion, while the Minnesota Lynx have the statistical edge and home court advantage, the Washington Mystics have the grit and determination to cover the 8-point spread. With the Lynx potentially missing their star player and Washington's recent surge in form, this game is set to be a nail-biter. I'm going to place my bet on the Washington Mystics to cover the spread in what promises to be an electrifying showdown.